And when you talk about the compute limitations, I mean, in how many use cases do you actually hit those compute limitations? In other words, is the intended use so dependent on computational power or real-time data? I was talking to Ellison Ann about that, and she said, listen, we don't have that issue because for the use cases that most people are looking at, that real-time compute, that microsecond doesn't exist. So most use cases actually, for this data, for what the current compelling use cases are, this isn't really even necessarily a limitation.
I would agree with it. We're not talking about high frequency hedge funds trading on encrypted data today. And we're probably not going to be. And that comment from Ellison is spot on because of the work that folks like Inveil and Infer and Intel and whoever else is working on speeding this all up have made possible. There are still overheads and there are still limitations, particularly when you start to tie privacy enhanced technologies with AI or machine learning or data science. So if you take a relatively cumbersome workload like machine learning training and you add encrypted overhead to it, you do start to see some upper bounds, whether it be memory, runtime, bandwidth, but you constrain that down to use cases that don't require it. So are we training a model every minute or are we training a model once a day, once a week? Are we running inference with an SLA of under 2 seconds, or do we have a SLA of a millisecond? Not only does that define the solution space, but it also starts to dictate what technology is most relevant for that use case. And so mapping the need for the privacy enhanced technology into the business requirements is a lot of what happens today. And we focus on building a capability that abstracts some of that cryptographic requirement, cryptographic insight that's needed to bring the right privacy enhanced technology into that problem. So in certain circumstances, you could use fully homomorphic encryption for a basic operator. You could use secure multi-party computation for some model training. And then you could use differential privacy on the back end to kind of protect on the outputs. What we kind of champion at Infer is that the solution is typically not a either or. It's very much an and type privacy need, meaning you need a multitude of privacy enhanced technologies to kind of meet the greatest business need. So I think from maybe back to one of your early questions where we kind of differentiate, we don't like to focus on one specific privacy enhanced technology versus the capability suite. So we don't often get into the horse races of this FHE versus the other, or this approach for MPC versus the other. A lot of it is, it can be both. It can be either or. And our software is actually quite apropos in being named XOR, so it could be an exclusive or as well.